I was learning by like reading descriptions of scratches on forums and stuff. So that was before video. It was like still dial-up internet, right?
Hold on, so what? There's scratch scriptures.
Killa Kela Podcast. KillaKelaOfficial.com.
THTC, the UK's leading ethical streetwear label. Organically grown and ethically built garments from hemp, organic cotton, and other sustainable materials. 2019 is their 20th anniversary year. Join me with THTC as a Killa Kela Podcast sponsor celebrating music, social activism, hemp, and street culture. THTC, eco-fashion redefined since 1999. Beatbox created.
Killa Kela.
And we're here to talk about world music and street culture.
Killa Kela Podcast.
New year, new me. This is the Killa Kela Podcast, live and direct, Central London, or Central as you need to be. Oh, look at that one. So I've got screens and all sorts going off here. Right, it's Killa Kela Podcast, live and direct. Big shout out to our People's Graffiti Kings for the sponsor and the hookup and everything. Central London, as central as you need to be. Subscribe, like, share, tell all your friends. Do not sleep. I repeat, do not sleep on this repeat. We are very lucky. Man from out of town, is now from out of town, is back in town, and superstar DJ, DMC Champion, Jon1st.
Thanks for having me, man. Good to be here.
How was the intro? All right.
Yeah?
Did it cut it all right?
Yeah. 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. Yeah.
Maybe 6.
How are you?
Good, man. Yeah. Good to be here. Good to meet you finally.
Yeah.
And good to be in London today.
Likewise. I really I value these moments where people that I don't know outside of, the acquaintance of social media, come through and just, take a not a risk, but take an opportunity, and it just means a lot to me, man. So I appreciate that.
Fine. Likewise, man.
What's it saying up in Leicester land? Leicester, for anyone that isn't from UK, is it's Midlands, isn't it?
Yeah, East Midlands.
That's it.
Represent.
Hold tight, Midlands crew. Leicester, Derby. What else is there?
Nottingham.
Birmingham. 1 in 4.
Birmingham's West Midlands.
Birmingham's
West. Still crew.
That's Black Country, isn't it? That's Wolverhampton, Coventry. See, they question my geographics. I know what's going on.
Pork scratchings.
Yeah. Pork scratchings.
Is
yes.
the home? Yeah.
For real.
My friend Slobs from Birmingham. He says he only rates pork scratchings by the postcode. So if they're from Black Country, they're legit.
For those of you
he knows as well.
For those of you who don't know what pork scratchings is, and you're not from around here, that is an entirely different dish that maybe is best served in the Black Country and not really. It's a bit like the Cornish pasty, to be fair, isn't it? It's, it only really works in those places. England, I always wondered where pork scratchings came from.
Now we know.
Criminally good.
They have an equivalent in South America.
Did they? What they have?
I can't remember the name of it. But you can get it in like bodegas and stuff in the US. But it's under like a Spanish name.
Damn, son.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, how you live and you learn. The international... I always find with different... I guess it runs in tandem with music as well, but different dishes. But then there is actually a lot of dish that is kind of just cooked a little different, but is the same sort of thing, just in a different place. Do you know what I mean? I find that with music as well, often. Like you hear a tempo, a style, like Mumbaton is kind of a bit like, it's got that soca vibe, but then it's got the Afrobeat kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
I find it really fascinating where it's particularly before internet really blew up for connecting people for music, where you have people in completely different parts of the world who are kind of like on the same path and like have the same vision in terms of sound.
Yeah.
And then they finally meet each other and like, wait, you were doing this sort of music like in Japan, and then here I was in Yorkshire or whatever,
That is some madness, isn't it?
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of an example, like maybe like DJ Shadow and Crush, or like
my God, yeah.
something like that, where they're like both kind of on the same mission, and then they finally meet and make some crazy music together.
Yeah, and that is when explosions on scenes happen. My mate James used to be in a band called Does It Offend You? Yeah, and they came out around the same time as Justice, and they were both on the same wavelength. And I remember them meeting Justice at the Scala. And they just started Does It Offend You? Just started printing out business cards. This is where they was just on the fringes of getting dead serious. And MySpace had popped off. And as at that point there, it was the first time I'd heard anything of an electro, a renaissance.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's that's all I could hear. That's all that was happening. And I think there is an energy to that, isn't there? Something happens and it just explodes.
Yeah, like the start of a scene where there's no rules yet and everyone's like, ooh, I'm inspired by. That sounds
Yeah.
so camp. Yeah, when there's a maybe cut that bit out. There's a
Nope.
there's a bit where there's an idea and everyone's just like vibing off that thing. I've seen
Yeah.
that like a bunch of times following stuff at like the beginning of scenes as an outsider or like a DJ playing that sort of music, and everyone vibing off a thing before there's like a formula there. Yeah. I find that stuff super fascinating.
Bro, formulas, it's a blessing and a curse. If you're on the fringe, if you're quick enough to be one of the first ones to get onto the formula, then the formula just sees you right the way through till like your bank is full. But man, I mean, there's a lot of similar traits to social media now where everyone's just like basically got the formula down. And yeah, punk music had the same sort of thing. I think Iggy Pop came over here and then all of a sudden like Sex Pistols emerged. Yeah, it's not new. It's just if you're a part of the scene when something like that happens, it's glorious, isn't it?
And sometimes where there's like maybe like a few year gap, maybe a scene kind of like finishes for a bit, and then like a newer generation get into it, and they all have that kind of experience again because it's all new for them. I've noticed that recently with some of the music I play. There was like maybe a lull with like 160 bass music, like footwork and UK music hybrid footwork stuff.
That's it, yeah.
And there were like people moved into different sounds for a bit, and now there's a whole like younger generation getting into it and have all that enthusiasm that we had maybe like 8 years ago, and it's brought a whole new life into it, and everyone's like back on it again.
Ain't that the shit?
Yeah, I love that sort of stuff.
Normally that comes at a cost of having to give it a whole new name. Like, if it ain't rap, it's UK hip hop. If it's not that, it's grime. If it's not, it's drill. It's like the youth, which is awesome. It's fresh, and it's like they kind of give it their own stamp. Do you know what I mean? I love it when new ideas come from a fresh perspective and a younger generation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's it. Yeah, it's a buzz for everyone then.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, while we're on this subject, just to reverse back, people, for those of you who don't know Jon1st, Jon, he's in collaboration with a guy called Shield, and Shield, by far, these two together are like, it reminds me of, it's essentially live hip-hop DJing, but across loads of different tempos and just the snappiness and the charge in which they take. It's almost like they're trying to, you're creating live DJ music, right?
Yeah.
But you're pioneering it. That's certainly where I'm seeing it. It's like you're ahead of the
That's
game.
very kind of you. I would beg to differ because there are people that we're influenced by, right, where we got a lot of it from.
Okay, for the people that are just stepping into the scene.
Sure, yeah. So like, a lot of the people I used to look up to with that sort of stuff would be people like DJ Shadow, Cut Chemist, Newmark, Egads.
Oh yeah, Cut Chemist and Newmark had a real kind of combination going, didn't they?
Yeah,
for a while, yeah.
There's that Pushing Buttons video, like pre-YouTube, that I used to like watch all the time. And I guess like there's the whole like controllerism movement that happened alongside turntablism as well. And
That's crazy, yeah.
So yeah, all that sort of stuff, and obviously having a background in doing turntablism, and with that seeing as technology evolved, so you could start manipulating your own sounds. People like C2C and Scratch
killer.
Perverts and Birdie Nam Nam, people like this, who started to be able to perform their own productions live. And just technology improves. It makes it so much more accessible to do that now. And so, yeah, we're taking influence from those sort of people. And then Alex, who's kind of outside of that world, he's more from a production place, but also he's like classically trained as a musician.
Oh, he kills it on the keys and everything. He's like, what?
He's like been drumming since just as he started walking, kind of thing.
Wonder Boy, man, fucking on it.
So and has a background. He used to be a b-boy too. He has a background in that culture as well. So he totally gets it. So it's just bring it to like the sort of bass music we make and beats music we make.
You know what's crazy? Sorry to cut you. We will get into this, but the reason why I figured you spearheading and pioneering is the way you've been embraced thus far with the States, because there isn't another that has been embraced quite the same way.
Yeah, maybe like
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's the example that comes to mind would be like Keys and Crates. Are you familiar with them? They're like more like trap kind of stuff.
Okay.
But within that beats kind of subgenre of that, if you will.
Keys and Crates.
Yeah, that'd be different. They're more like a band. There's like a DJ, a keys player, and a live drummer.
Okay.
And they kind of do edits and some of their own material in a similar way, performing for an hour. And stuff
that's
like
pretty
that.
sick.
Yeah.
In a club environment? Is it that kind of thing?
Clubs and festivals. I think I've not got to catch them myself yet, but I've seen videos and stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. When I've seen you play, it's particularly with Shield, the seamless performance value. It's actually mad. And I've seen it live on YouTube because I've done my study, and I've seen it on your Instagram. And it's the real deal. Like, there's just no editing. It's like you guys are really doing it like that. And if you guys ever get a chance to check it out, Jon1st and Shield. How long does it take for you to make a routine such as the ones you're doing?
So for these ones, we've kind of got a formula now in terms of like workflow.
Yeah.
We always try and do something new every time for us anyway. Like make sure we've not done the same sort of thing before. But now it's more, you write the song, and sometimes that does start with jamming in a traditional sense, playing instruments. But sometimes it's all in the box and we just make a beat.
Oh, so you do it like as if you were making a produced track?
Yeah,
Oh,
and then we're like,
Break it
okay,
apart.
what are the most fun parts to play? Okay, who gets to play this bit? All right, go on, then you get to play
That's
bass this
amazing.
time. I get to play lead or whatever. And we just change roles. So if one person's playing rhythm, the other person gets to play lead, and we get to swap around.
Yeah, seeing it, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, we have a formula now. But before that, it was more a lot of experimentation, finding a sound like we're both happy with, and then working out the best way to do that transition from like here's a song into here's how to perform it. But now we've kind of got that, and we can roll with it. And yeah, but a lot of that comes from making scratch routines in a similar way, which I've been doing for a few years since stopping battling, of trying to make turntablism and performing scratching and stuff like that melodic and like in song format, and also in kind of club format that would work on a dance floor.
Melodic for sure.
Yeah.
Actually, now you mention that, that's the first thing about your stuff that surpasses a lot of what I've seen like it before. I really value the battle edge of teams doing their thing, or the likes of like yourselves doing that. But with you guys, there is a real song. There's a melody. It could just as well be an instrumental.
That's the goal. So awesome. Yeah, like it can be a spectacle for people to enjoy, and that's a big part of it too. But if people want to like close their eyes and dance, that's the one too. And that's the like the goal is to have like both those things at the same time, or one of those things.
And do you have a hype man for the shows and stuff like that?
It's just us, and we get on the mic sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Well, you can be cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's fucking sick. And the spectacle also, just the way you guys move across the... Yeah, it comes with it's a lot of patting your head, rubbing your stomach. No?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think no matter how long you've been doing scratching, like every single technique is like that. I'm sure it's the same with beatboxing, learning how to like move your tongue and use your throat in different ways to create different sounds. It's always like, I've got to overcome this muscle memory thing to be able to...
Straight up, so true.
Yeah.
That must... Because you must get these crazy journey blocks of like, what did I do next? Shit. And that learning process must be quite tiresome. Quite heavy.
And like I started doing it... I'm going to show my age, but like, I started doing scratching stuff like 2003.
Right.
And I was learning by like reading descriptions of scratches on forums and stuff. So that was before video. It was like still dial-up internet, right?
Hold on. So there's scratch scriptures. These are things that they were really writing them down and...
Yeah. So like there was a site like Ricky Rucker, is a DJ from California, I think. Who was like writing descriptions of things. Would be like baby scratch, you move the record back and forth and things like that. There was like how to DJ books and things like that, and they have these descriptions.
That's crazy.
And you'd be like, yeah, you move the record back and forth and turn the fader on and off and stuff like that. So I try and do that and then listen to stuff and learn stuff by ear. So like my progress was way slow because I didn't have someone like going, yeah, you just do this and this and this, or explain it in like a traditional music way. Whereas with now there's tutorials and people have been able to learn like traditional theory and go, yeah, it's quarter notes back and forth. And then this hand is just like chopping up on eighths or something like that. So with Alex, who's like classically trained, like I've been showing him how to scratch over the last year or so for the show. Yeah. And because he's the drummer, he understands the theory like
the straight away. Yeah.
So for him, I can just go, okay, yeah, it's eighth notes here and one beat back and forth on this side, for example. And he's like, okay, I've just got to learn the muscle memory now. And because he gets the theory straight away.
That's right.
A couple of days, he's just like, he's on it.
Oh,
he's like frustratingly talented.
I'm saying some of the best scratch DJs are drummers, just because of the patterns.
Yeah.
Prime Cuts is a great example of that.
Oh, I didn't know he was a drummer too.
Drummer, hardcore drummer. What was I coming to? Yeah, that theory stuff, I don't know how that could be replicated in beatbox. But one thing I will say is, tutorials for the most mundane of shit on YouTube, everything pales to the awesomeness of just having those tutorials of how to scratch and be a better DJ. There's always this ongoing complaint about DJing being real like, Spotify, even being able to mix on Spotify and stuff like that. People calling themselves a DJ. I'm not pompous about it because I don't, I have scratch DJ friends, but I don't know, you know what I mean? I don't know it like that. It was just because I was associated.
Yeah.
Done a bunch of DMC stuff as well. But categorically, from someone on the outside, most of the time looking in, being a scratch DJ is fucking important. Just knowing how to do that shit is so important, or else you're just selectors are good, but they ain't, you know what I mean? No excuses, right?
Yeah, well, like, it's probably going to sound weird coming from me as someone who's like spent so long doing that, but for me, most of my favourite DJs aren't actually scratch DJs.
Well, like your Rodigans and people like that?
Yeah, like, are you familiar with DJ Kootma?
No.
He lived in England for a bit. He was originally from LA, but he's just like a super sick selector and has a really unique style of mixing. And for me, it's people with like really unique taste who know when to play the right records at the right time.
Explain the mixing, the unique style of mixing that he might do.
It's really hard to explain. Like he does like cut mixing like a hip hop DJ, but he uses a lot of like dub style techniques as well. And his selection, he plays like really wonky beats kind of stuff.
Wicked.
It's really dark too, and plays like a lot of Eastern European instrumental music and stuff like that.
Wow.
Shares a lot of similar tastes with Gaslamp Killer, if you've seen him before.
Of course, yeah. Back in the day, yeah.
So they're all from the same scene. So he's like the OG DJ from that kind of world. And so like he's one of my favorites. Mr. Thing, who's of course a really good scratch DJ as well. Yeah. But like he's just like the all-round thing. For me, he knows when to play the right records. Yeah. He's got such a great taste in music.
Shorty Blitz as well.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh man, like I can remember living. I'm from just outside London, and we could still just about get Kiss. And I remember being like 14, 15, like messing around with my FM radio, going, "Oh yeah, Shorty Blitz," and hearing him cut up doubles and going, "How the hell is he doing that?" And
bad man. Jazzy B is a great selector. Rodigan is a great selector.
Yeah.
I put my trust in a selector. Do you know what I mean? I do. I do. But like, for instance, Mr. Thing, he knows the science behind it and the technicality. He just chooses when to get it out.
He ticks all the boxes. Totally. And that's always been like what I'd love to be able to do. And that's what I strive for anyway. Whether I've achieved it is not for me to say, but that's what I strive for doing is like, you want to be, like, I love to be a great producer, a great club DJ, great like mixtape DJ, just playing like breaking news shit, and then great at cuts and stuff like that, and doing and performing, like ticking all those boxes. Yeah, that's the goal.
I think like with a lot of selectors, they base it, everything's based on emotion, but when you're like a Mr. Thing or a Shorty Blitz or a Jazzy Jeff or DJ Craze, there is so much attention to where the mood goes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's hard not to dance. You know what I mean? It's hard not to get into it. And we were talking about Craze. Big up Craze.
Yeah, big up Craze every time, man.
Legend, GOAT, and Go. He's right.
I don't know. I just find that I always find the phrase really funny when it's said like that. But yeah. He is definitely one of the greatest of all time when it comes to hip hop DJing and drum and bass DJing, all sorts of DJing.
Yeah. Because you've worked with him, right? You've done a few performance pieces, haven't you?
Yeah. We produced a song together earlier this year for his label, and then when Shield and I were touring, he booked us in Miami.
Sick.
With his crew called
That's
Beat
how
Camp.
that came about, right?
Yeah, and when we were staying with him, we were like, yeah, we did this like routine with the song we made, and he was like, yeah, let's do it, and we recorded it in his kitchen, and that's that video, which is.
How long did it take him to learn the parts?
He, we were just saying before, like Alex and I showed him the thing, and he learned it in like 10 minutes. He's like absolute don. I was just like, yeah, so this is when we do this bit, this is when we do this bit, and he was like, okay, give me 2 minutes, and he was just done. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some mad compartmentalizing processing of there's not a lot. I mean, at times I've jammed with him back in the day, especially, bro. He was just quick. It was just quicker than me. Like whoa, okay. You know, I have an element of jamming in my shit. I like to jam a bit. As
what keeps it exciting. If you're touring and doing the same show for like weeks on end, having parts where you can make mistakes or like recover from stuff that you weren't expecting to happen and improvise just keeps it exciting every show.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah. Particularly if like the sound goes down or some shit. It's like, oh God, we'll jump into something. You know, the limiter goes off or something, I don't know. Let's take it back. So, young Jon1st, where are you originally from? Explain your childhood to us.
I grew up in South London, originally in Barnes, near Richmond, and then moved to Esher in Surrey, so that's like near Surbiton, Kingston, that kind of way. When I was 6 or 7.
There's a cricket club near there, was it? Esher?
Yeah.
I'm not into cricket, but I do know it.
There's a Sandown Park horse race course
That's
as well.
Horse race course as well. That's right.
And I lived there until I was 18. I lived in Guildford for 1 year. I went to a music production course there.
Nice.
The ACM in Guildford. And then I moved to Leicester for uni after that. And I've just stayed there since. I just made great friends there. It's really affordable to live there. And particularly being like just doing music, which is like it's all I've done since uni. It gives you much more stability. I would have probably struggled a lot. And like I tip my hat to anyone who does full-time underground music and lives in London or a big city, because that is tough.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because often that gets really overlooked. But with the city's changing landscape, it's like people's attention to the arts and things like that. It fluctuates so hard, isn't it? Even for Leicester, man. I mean, it's a big city. Big shout out to SS, actually. Did you SS on the formation crew?
Shout out Leroy.
Yeah, hold tight. That's my boy.
Hey, man.
When I think of Leicester, I do think of drum and bass. I do think is electronic music like big up there?
Yeah, it's since I've lived there, I've seen like different scenes have like huge moments. I moved there just as dubstep was becoming more of like a mainstream thing. So I moved there in 2008, I think it was, or 2009. And a lot of artists from there, like there was Bar 9, Nero,
that's right, yeah,
who were part of like the more like the style that kind of was able to cross over to the States, and it turned into this huge explosion. That was all kind of happening as I moved there, so I got to witness that. And at the same time, like dub reggae was huge in Leicester, and I think it's been huge there for generations. Yeah. And at that point, there was still like regular, like friendly clashes where they'd have like two systems in the room, kind of thing, on a regular basis. They still happen, but it's not as much as back then.
What was that? Obviously, there's Leicester Carnival.
Yeah.
What's the other? There's another event that goes on. It's like for a whole week, and it's just a music event. Do you know what I mean? Where they block off like loads of different venues and.
They've been like there was a venue called Superfly that was doing stuff like that.
That's right. Yeah.
Was it them?
I played there. Yeah, I did that event.
Because they were doing like festival things, and someone like SS, for example,
That's
I think
right.
would have done a takeover with Formation
Some
as part of that.
badass reggae, dub reggae that was going off that one whole strip. And it was so sick.
I think it would have been that. I mean, like the carnival's been like going. I don't actually know when it started, but it's been going for a long time.
Long
like
time.
Every year, to celebrate like Jamaican independence and stuff. And Abashanti still plays every year.
Bro,
on the park.
I went to. I didn't play that. I went to it once. Yeah, I love it. The fact, people go off in Leicester. Bring the paint. That's another.
Yeah. Oh, so my
which is a graffiti event.
Yeah.
A new graffiti event.
So my girlfriend runs a vegan cafe in Leicester,
Right.
and it's in the same building as that paint shop.
No way.
The paint shop who
Which you've
organised
done the
that
event.
festival.
Which you've done an event at.
And we did the launch party for event there.
And they organised Bring the Paint.
Yeah.
Dude, I
yeah.
need to
So
get
they're
up
called,
there.
they're called Graphwork. And
Bro.
that graffiti festival has brought so much attention to Leicester as a
100%.
place, and it's the council are all on board with it. So like some stuff gets taken down when it's on boards and stuff, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff
That just
around the city
stays.
centre that stays, and it's like artists from all over the world.
Yeah.
And yeah, it makes you really proud. Like when I show people around who are from out of town, I'm like, oh yeah, let's go check out this piece here or this piece here, this piece
People
here.
don't get that. Councils and governments don't understand the power of culture and like how important it is to like have it around. That rivals Upfest like in Bristol. Like I think that's one of the biggest paint events. But
there's another one in Birmingham called City of Colours.
really, okay, whoa.
I don't know when. I think it might have been 2 or 3 years ago, the last one, but on a similar thing.
Love it.
In Digbeth, you like know the rainbow?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So that whole area is like
I've seen it. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
went to a show there and I saw this this art. I saw this paint. Yes, I do. I've seen it.
So that whole area was getting covered. I don't know if that's still happening, but you can still see a load of pieces around there.
Well, Rainbow shut down now. That
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
Which is a shame.
Well, yeah. But how do you feel about that? Because with your style of turntablism, your electronic performance, it makes it quite hard to. I mean, correct me if I'm fucking wrong.
No, go for it.
But it makes it quite hard to go into a DJ booth and just do what you do for a couple of reasons, isn't it? You know,
Oh, you mean in terms of
the
working
venue's going. You know.
Yeah. You mean in terms of venues shutting down?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel in the UK at the moment there's stuff closing all the time because we're all fighting for space in terms of people where people live and places getting gentrified, and we all know how that goes. Somewhere gets hyped as a cool place to go, and then everyone wants to live there, but don't want to hear the stuff that's cool about it, you know, and see those things. So everything gets shut down and moved along. And
Have kids somewhere else.
yeah. It's just it makes it really difficult for venues, and I totally understand it. And sometimes it maybe venues that would take risks on stuff have to maybe play it a little bit safer, which I totally understand. Understand that too. So there's less opportunity for stuff that is like less established at that point, which I get from like a business perspective totally.
Yeah.
Whereas if like 10 years ago there was a lot more stuff with like way varied lineups and stuff like that,
And people were just kind of up for it.
but that's just things change.
It's
unfortunately,
economics, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. But I also feel like speaking about that particular sound that like Alex and I do. At the moment, there's less of a beat circuit over here compared to there was a few years ago. Unless you're talking like big heritage kind of acts we were talking about just before we started.
Yeah.
Where they have a huge fan base, and I feel at the moment for that particular style of music, you have to kind of reach a certain level of following and popularity, so you can book yourself or be booked in like a 500 plus venue and sell it out.
Yeah.
And that takes a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
At the moment there's less opportunities for that sort of stuff over here, but
In the States, it's popping.
in the States, like there's more opportunity for that style of music at the moment because it fits in with a lot of other stuff, even though it's not as like EDM sounding as say like trap was a few years ago. It still kind of fits in because it shares a lot of similar tempos and stuff like that, even though it's maybe more UK sound palette.
Yeah.
Like
they love that.
Yeah, they love that. So
Yeah,
it's going really good over there. No complaints.
There's a perfect sweet spot at the moment because EDM. I mean, you know, I'm not critiquing the culture as a
likewise.
whole, but it seems to be it's exhausted, and to have something very new come in, that's why dubstep has taken the kind of the flag for it a little bit. But even then, like, there's enough space for something new that falls in line with the Clams Casino, Ivy Lab, that kind of world, isn't it?
Yeah, because that's been. I mean, I can't talk for all the artists you just mentioned, but like for me, like I was looking at what was happening in LA, in like the mid 2000s, like religiously on forums and stuff, seeing stuff like Flying Lotus come through.
Amazing.
And like
Glitch
Brain
Mob.
Feeder, Glitch Mob,
Yeah,
the whole
Glitch
low
Mob.
end theory
Yeah.
scene that followed that as well. And
That was crazy.
it was crazy.
So
There
good.
was like Marianne Hobbs' show was kind of like on like the late night one on BBC. Around that time was such like a beacon for that sort of music. I was tuning in like religiously every week, listening and hearing like 10, 20 artists I'd never heard of before, and going, every single one of these is amazing and blowing my mind.
So when was that? 2004.
That would have been
I don't know, a lot later.
the time I was listening was like 2006, 2008, and that's how I heard about like all that sort of stuff basically.
So at that time, you were mostly scratch DJing. You entered the DMC.
Yeah, at that particular point, I've been a club DJ since I like turned 18, basically.
So 3 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so about I've been playing in clubs for like 12 years or something at this point, and so I've always been doing that alongside scratching. And I just wanted to be like a club DJ who was kind of good at scratching, and then I started doing battles. Just so I could it gave me like a end goal. Like, okay, I've got 3 months. I'm just going to try and improve in that time. And then I ended up entering DMC because a friend of mine was actually at that Superfly venue. They were like, we're going to book DMC Midlands Heat and you're our resident. We want you to enter. So I was kind of like, I don't know what the right word. Not guilt trip isn't the right word, but they were like, yeah, we're kind of putting on and we want someone local to do it because it'll pull people in kind of thing. I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I just trained really hard for a month while doing my like dissertation at uni.
Jesus
And
Christ.
I ended up winning that battle, which is definitely not biased, being a local or anything like that. Yeah, and then like I went to the UK final and like I had fun. Like, I didn't like place or anything, but I had a load of fun doing it, and I was nowhere near the level I needed to be, but I did a set that I felt represented myself at the time. And I thought after that, I finished uni and was like, what am I going to do now? Like, because I'm playing out a lot and it's paying my bills and stuff. Either I really want to get into producing the sort of music I'm playing and maybe work part-time or something like that, or maybe I'm going to focus on turntablism because that's like my other big love, and see where that takes me with these battles and things. So I'm now on that kind of like little ladder. So I thought I took the latter and went for that. And 2 years I just practiced all the time and played out, was running club nights and stuff and booking.
So was your
booking
commodity the club nights? Was that the thing that was kind of holding you down? And then
Yeah, so I was playing out like a couple of times a week at that point, and that kind of like paid my bills and enough to like keep me going. And like as you know, like if you're doing that sort of battling stuff seriously, you want to dedicate your life to it. And
it's
you
like
can't
an athlete.
So like any sort of, I know people like hold down full-time jobs, like intense full-time jobs, and do it. But because I was trying to go from like being like a club guy who kind of like scratched a bit at a like all right level to like battling people like Richie Ruffstone. He'd been doing it for like 15 years before I even started.
And he just does it. He wakes up in the morning and starts doing it.
So I was like,
that,
okay, if I get to someone like that, I need to get to that level.
Yeah.
I need to beat him, for example.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to practice as much as I can. And having like a lower income, but gave me the time to practice.
That's right. Yeah.
Was like the one I went for. And I placed higher a little bit every time. And then the third year, so that was 2 years after I graduated, I won DMC online, and my video kind of went viral within that community. I was really, really lucky.
Wow.
And it reached a lot of people outside of that, because I was using like UK funky and I was using footwork music and trap and
So you're
hip-hop.
really pushing the genres that wouldn't normally have that in the mix.
I wanted to represent what I play as a DJ at that time.
that's
So
sick, yeah.
it was hitting a lot of those people as well. And off the back of that, I got an agent and was able to start touring as a club DJ, because I was still active putting out mixes and all that sort of stuff. And since that, that's all I've really been doing really. Like I stopped wanting to be, my focus with battling was I just want to be as technical as I can. Because with battling, it's all about bragging, really, to an extent. It's either like like showing tricks or like doing stuff as fast or as nerdy as other people, right? While making it listenable. But I kind of exhausted that for myself, and I was kind of over it for a while, and I just wanted to go, okay, how can I make this as musical as I can within my music taste?
Right.
So like after that, my technical level, like I was still practicing, and I think you can see if you watch stuff in like chronological order, I'm learning stuff. But my focus was way more on like, okay, how can I do an arrangement that I've never done before? Ooh. So I'm using like...
That's a whole new discipline going on,
yeah,
right?
so I'm using different arrangement types, like using a sampler to trigger like a third deck, and then juggle stuff with the sampler playing, or producing songs, or working from stems from my producer friends.
Sick.
And doing like live edits and things like that.
Wow.
And now it's got to a stage where working with Shield, for example, where it's some music that we write individually and some music we write together, but we're performing in that style.
It's so good, yeah.
So yeah, like learning to produce was like my main thing after that as well, and just enjoying like getting to tour and like working hard on like new stuff, and that's kind of where I sit now. Like a bit of production, a bit of scratch nerdery, the live thing, and just discovering new music and pushing music. Like I like, yeah.
It's mad that when you think about the production values of what you're describing there, and it's the role reversal. You're thinking to yourself, live and then production, right? It's mad how that, I don't know whether other producers think that way. Most producers, I guess, just want the tune put out and have DJ spin it rather than actually road test it themselves and break down the theory of how to a different way of playing it. It's not often done, is it?
Yeah. I feel like making something with the intention of performing it rather than mixing it. Yeah, and then making sure, because like if that's one thing, and you can do that, but then how do you keep it interesting for an hour as well? Because like it can be interesting to, like, even speaking as like a scratch nerd, I can only really watch someone like scratch for X amount of time before I'm like, okay, you need to be doing something different with this, right? Yeah. So to maintain that for an hour, and
unless it's Qbert,
obviously, yeah, something like that, but maintaining it being interesting for just general music fans is like the thing that is really interesting for me. Is like, okay, so how do you keep the arrangements interesting? How do you switch it in terms of music?
Is that your biggest? Is that a biggest personal challenge for you? Is to see how far? I mean, like, not that your mum would be interested in it, but for somebody who wasn't so versed at what is going on, to make it a performance in that respect.
I guess I've never really thought of it that way, but I guess I want to make music that I like, and then I want to perform it in a way that I enjoy performing it.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm making music for people who are into like beat stuff and all this stuff related to it. But then it's turning that into like an enjoyable show, but also like feeding to that scratch audience to show like where I'm from, and hip hop of course as well.
I'd imagine like the festivals and that, I would love it. I bet
festivals watching, UK festivals,
Vegas residency and all that. Fucking great. So future wise, what are you looking to do? Is it going to be like you and Shield going all out, like albums, remixes?
I mean, like like the thing with Alex is, we want to push it, see where we can go with it, because we're really enjoying it, and just see where we can take it, keep on making stuff and push like what we can get out of that setup, and challenge ourselves. But then we're also doing our own solo stuff too. So he's a producer, incredible musician, and I know he's got his own explorations with drumming and stuff as well. Like he has a side project which is like completely focused on b-boying, where he's like a drummer playing a mixture of kit and trigger drums, and like triggering parts of his own beats, and it's all meant for dancers, for battles.
Damn, that's fucking great.
And that's incredible. Like the things I've seen him do for that.
A whole different departure to what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get the little treading on each other's feet as far as projects go, but that just sounds like...
Yeah, he's just doing his own thing.
Crazy.
He's
and
awesome.
What a discipline to be measuring your music on than some of the most toughest dancing on the planet. That's crazy.
And he was, as a teenager, he was a b-boy too, and used to battle and stuff. So like he's got that insight on the sort of beats that dancers want to hear and dance to. And also the chops as a drummer and producer to kind of make that as gnarly as he can. So like, I'm super excited to see where he takes that. So like, as much as we're doing the duo thing, like he's doing that and Shield stuff as well. And I really want to focus on my own production and get better at that. I'm just getting to a stage where I feel like, getting a bit more confident where I can start releasing stuff.
What do you use?
I use Ableton, and I have some hardware synths and stuff like that. But I'm mainly in Ableton now. Really.
So in the box, yeah.
Yeah, I dabbled like when I was a teenager with like MPCs and stuff like that, and I learnt the foundation on that. And then like Ableton like blew my mind. As soon as I started using that, I'm like, I'm sold.
Best thing about Ableton is you can, there's a lot of corner cutting. There's more than one way to do things. You just got to figure it out. And it's just very intuitive, and there's just hassle free. Really creative.
It's so fast, and you find a workflow you like. It's really good.
Outside the box, what do you use?
I've got a Moog Sub 37, so
Okay.
like mono synths, so like basses and like fat leads and stuff like that.
Right.
I use my decks a lot with production, so like resampling and scratching stuff.
Do you? Wicked.
Yeah,
Just for the feel.
Yeah, just for the feel, and like doing like little drum cuts and stuff like that. And like I love doing like risers and filtery stuff. So a bit of that. Yeah, it's just mainly synths really, and like something I've picked up from working with Shield is like recording a lot of like Foley kind of stuff, and like recording like little clicks and stuff like that, and layering them under drums.
Just to give
and
it
stuff
layers. You know who I really respect, as I'm sure most people do that are into this genre, is Jai Paul, and the way that his production, it feels so loose and like human. It's humanized. Is that the kind of thing you mean, where it's a little bit off, but it feels human?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's this kind of, I don't know, kickback from all this linear shit. It's just, like nowadays it's really nice to feel that human touch within production, isn't it? Whether it's beatboxing or it's singing without melodyne or auto-tune or whatnot, you know what I mean? You ever worked with singers?
Yeah, a few times. Like, I've done a lot of scratching for rappers and stuff like that, and DJ'd for a few times for rappers, and it's something I wish I could have done more. But I was kind of I had an opportunity to DJ for like a couple of rappers I really, really respected and grew up listening to, but wasn't able. Like, I had my like own like kind of goals at that moment. I was on like a upwards thing in terms of like playing shows, so I had to decline. But I wish I could have done more stuff like that. But really, like the thing that's like drawn to me is working with other producers and like who want to do live stuff. Like, I used to do a similar project to a different style of music, but like similar kind of approach to what I do with Shield when I was younger, with a guy called Button Basher, and that was similar thing, just like vibing off someone else who has that same love for manipulating electronic stuff live.
I fucking love that, bro. I love the fact that you had a prototype.
Yeah.
I think we all do it. We just don't know it when we're doing it. And when we've got to a big place where it's like, fucking great, you don't realise that there was a lot of trials and errors and different ways in which you were making that thing come to life, huh?
Yeah, man.
Love it. Let's talk about your favourite all-time record.
Oh, man, that is a difficult question.
Desert Island style. If you were to pull out one record, maybe as a kid, and it's just lingered with you all your life.
I'm not sure I could choose a favourite one, but I can definitely choose ones that like had impacts for sure. Like we were speaking about something off camera before. I can definitely remember the first time like hearing like proper scratching and going, how the hell do they make these sounds? I want to make those.
What was that on?
And it was, so I was like the prime audience for a lot of like new metal kind of stuff. So like I was like 10, 11 when all that stuff was like huge on like MTV and Kerrang and stuff like that. So bands like Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit,
which
stuff like that.
They're huge.
They were my gateway.
Hybrid Theory is such
so that was my gateway into learning more about it. So like Linkin Park did a song with the Executioners, who are like legendary scratch crew from New York, and the MC Mike Shinoda and the DJ Mr. Hunt did a track with the Executioners on their album. And I bought that because I was like mad into Linkin Park. I was like, whoa, scratching, like scratch choruses.
And that changed everything.
Yeah, and then the B-side was like an all-scratch track. It was kind of like a collaboration between the Beat Junkies and the Executioners. The Beat Junkies are like a similar crew from the other side of America in LA.
Yeah, totally.
And it was the first time hearing like scratch drumming, beat juggling, scratching, vocals, but done in like a really palatable, accessible way for someone outside of that. It was a song, in my opinion. It was like a scratch arrangement that was like super, super vibey. And I was like, I want to learn how these sounds are made. And just
through the conduit of Linkin Park.
Yeah, and stuff like Limp Bizkit as well. Like their DJ was sampling like Eric B and Rakim and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like I got into stuff like Microphone Fiend and Know the Ledge and stuff through finding out, that sample's from there, and I like ended up loving Eric B and Rakim.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that. Slipknot as well. What was the name of their DJ?
Sid Starscream. And I met him recently because he's been doing a lot of he works with a company called Jesse Dean who do a lot of there's a sub scene of like the scratch scene at the moment called like with portable turntables, like small 7-inch turntables.
I've seen them.
And there's Jesse Dean is a company that makes all these mods for it, so you can put like better tone arms and better motors and stuff. And I think Sid, I don't know if Sid works for them or is really enthusiastic for them, but he's often at these jams now. And
no way.
Yeah, so like,
did you lose your shit a little bit?
I lost my shit a lot of it. So like, I just went up to him and was like, yeah, like I used to study the hell out of what like you were doing when I was a teenager, and I learned how to do scratches by like you used to do on your records by learning by ear and stuff like that.
Fire.
And
you got a chance to tell your people that.
Yeah, and I think he appreciated it as well, because although like that was a big part of their sound, the electronic influence. I don't know like how many of their active audience would have taken that route. So I think he found it like encouraging that someone had like got into like jungle and stuff from hearing it through their metal records.
Incredible.
So like, big respect to him, man. He's a super nice dude too.
And he jumps from great heights. Have you seen him live?
I think he's broken a lot of ankles in his time.
A lot of people will know my guy from just jumping very, very high off some of the... I could see he's got like some sort of protective back harness or something. I've seen that a couple of times. And I'm like, I don't blame you, man. He's crazy.
They did some crazy stage diving back in the day. And probably still does now.
Probably still does now.
But yeah, man, that was it. And then like through that, I got into like stuff like DJ Shadow, like the more like, and Vadim and people like that, Ninja Tune, Warp Records, all that sort of stuff, because I guess it spoke a little bit more to me, and I was just really into like the darker side of instrumental hip hop. And then there's not a million jumps from say that into like Flying Lotus and into like stuff like Ivy Lab and
when you hear Terrorist,
Carmack. Oh, totally, or like Witness by Ritz Maneuver. It's like the technology of the time, but it's only like one jump from say Terrorist into like Danny Breaks or into Fly Low.
And just circling back on what we were talking about, it mirrors again how crazy it is that one person in one continent can be doing one style of thing, and another person in another is doing, you know, the way that this shit comes together is, I mean, it's more rapid now with technology and communication, but again, it's just so fucking cool that at a time it is now.
Yeah, it's changed things in a way, because like we don't have regional scenes in the same way anymore, and you kind of get like shared like sonic aesthetics at different points in time, and it kind of affects everyone who's like plugged into what's happening.
Yeah, totally.
For like kind of a shorter period, but it's like on such a like bigger like international scale.
Yeah.
And you can get scenes like, part of the reason I've been able to tour as a DJ is through stuff like forums and message boards who are into like really small like subgenres.
Oh, for real? So that still still dominates the buzz.
Like posting on like there's a couple of message board or Facebook groups like I've been going on like regularly for years, and like posting mixes and stuff like that, and just built a following off that, because like people are searching for tunes and mixes in that scene, and then
just because you like it, just because you're buzzing, you just want to post that, and then
and a lot of those people turn into promoters and producers and their own DJs in their own right, and then it's just one of those scenes that's kind of everyone's kind of like common goal. So everyone just goes like, you're playing, I'm going to book you.
It's the same with beatboxing, man.
And vice versa, like booking people when they're like coming to tour over here from the States and stuff like that. It's all like, we all try and make everything work.
That's so sick. Right, so what's the future hold then?
I'm just like trying to, like, I'm still happy doing what I'm doing, just like trying to get better as a DJ, as a producer, as a scratcher, doing all the live stuff. Just trying to like improve at everything really, because that's what, it's going to sound mega cheesy and cringy, but like honestly, that's like one of my favorite things about music is like you never stop learning stuff, and there's always going to be someone like a kid who's like hearing all these things but has like a completely new perspective on it because they're not influenced by the like club culture or like a certain scene or something like that. So like they have a fresh perspective and have like a complete fresh idea of where to take these sort of things, and that sort of stuff completely changes like everything. So like never stop learning, man. So like that's just keep on doing my thing and see where I can push stuff really.
And that's the sentiment of the whole episode, I think. Never stop learning, brother. Smashed it.
Heart emojis.
Yeah, heart emojis are like good stuff. Listen,
Musical
bro.
friends.
Musical friends, yeah. Exactly. Oh yeah, talking of which, where can they find out about you?
So all the socials really. I like ones I use regularly at Instagram at Jon1st, Jon1st. YouTube for like all the scratchy videos, and I'm starting to put my mixes on there. SoundCloud, Jon1st, Mixcloud, Jon1st. There's probably like over 100 mixes I've done in the last like 10, 12 years are on there.
You lot better get some catch up going if you're gonna start competing up against Jon1st. That's all I'm saying.
But yeah. Thanks so much for having me, man. It's been a pleasure.
Brother. It's been fucking great. And
awkward.
Thank you so much for passing through, brother.
Thank you, man.
It means a great deal. And like I said, you travel so far. Really appreciate it.
Likewise, man.
My G.
Big up.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jon1st inside the ride. How we feeling, all right? So don't forget to subscribe, all right? Tell a friend, Killa Kela Podcast when you're stopping, all right? Take care of yourselves. Don't speak to any strange women. Peace.
AG Dentistry. In my line of work, not only does what I do with the mouth get reviewed, it's also my instrument. And it's beyond important to me that my teeth get the professional service they deserve. The AG family provide expert dentistry, whether it's NHS or cosmetic. They're the finest in London. Head over to agdentistry.co.uk for more information on treatments and prices. AG Dentistry.